Hello, hello! Today we're taking it outside for a beautiful day sewing in the sun. What is summer without at least one DIY picnic look? So today's sewing machine and 5 meters of pretty fabric are gathering in the name of this Cecilie Bahnsen dress. It's playful, the proportions feel really youthful, and we get to show off a lot of great sewing techniques like making ties, attaching a lining, gathering for days, slash and spread, and yeah, sorry, who am I kidding? I'm indoors, away from bugs, in my home clothes, not getting a sunburn, but since the world is not in a great place right now, this is the fantasy that I need to keep it together. As you were, Picnic Wendy. We're going to tackle the hardest part first, which is fitting the bodice. My assistant Julia helped me draft a pattern piece for the front, which has a narrower shoulder than usual and an extra large armhole. This is all to create that kind of like toddler, childish, small chest area effect that you see on the Cecilie Bahnsen dress. There's a dart here that I might have to add, but we're going to see how it all lands later. And here is the back pattern again with the narrower shoulders and a large armhole. I cut both of these out on a folded fabric to get a symmetrical front and a symmetrical back. These are the bodice pieces that I drafted for myself from a class I took in Toronto. I've mentioned these many times because they're golden. They've helped me through so much. Front, back, and this is what I meant when I said a narrower shoulder and then a larger armhole. The extra length at the bottom is not necessary, but because I'm not quite sure where the waist is going to land, it's just always good to give yourself a little bit of room to work with. The back needs to be cut open down the middle so that you can get in and out of this dress. And we're going to sew the front and the back right sides together at the shoulders and also at the sides. If, like me, your fabric is slightly sheer, you can make an identical bodice lining. And next up, I cut these long 4 centimeter wide strips. I chopped it into 4 pieces. These you can sew right sides together to form 4 ribbons. If you want to hack, you add a string before sewing it shut so that you can pull on the string to easily flip it inside out. Easily flip it inside. Oh gosh. I'm out of practice. Okay, you need to tie a knot, you need to trim the excess fabric, and then, yes, okay, nice and easy. The ribbons go on the back opening like so, and the lining gives it all a hug. This just needs 2 straight stitches down the back to lock in the ribbons, and then you should also flip it open so that you can understitch the raw edge to the lining to make sure it stays hidden. Time for the sleeves. These are the measurements that I started with, and you can check the blog post linked in the description on how to calculate the size you need. Honestly, I could have made them bigger, but I was worried about running out of fabric, so we're going to bring these right sides together to seal the straight edge into a tube, and then I also add 2 parallel stitches along the long curve. You've seen me do this technique many times, but this is how I gather up all of my fabric. Not only have I done this gathering technique a lot on my channel, this is the 3rd time I've used this gathering technique on a Cecilie Bahnsen-inspired outfit. I had first made this Christmas dress out of this super pretty thick satin fabric with these crazy flowers on it. She is gathered like nuts, and also a bit of that like toddler cut too. And then last winter, if you've been subscribed for that long, you saw this wrap coat. It was made completely from a blanket that I thrifted at Value Village. Also heavily gathered here to create the poofy shape at the waist. So after this, I will just be 1 garment away from wearing Cecilie Bahnsen all year round. The new dress, I guess, can stand in for spring and summer for now. And if there's one more Cecilie Bahnsen outfit you want me to make to really complete this 4 seasons Vivaldi concerto, let me know. I don't like this gap of fabric here by the armpit. It just feels bulky. So I reshaped the armhole to let it cut deeper into my chest area. Everything gets repinned back together, and here, yes, hopefully you can see why this is a fit that I prefer. Before, after, also doesn't look like I will need the chest darts because I don't see any weird lumps. So I'm just going to skip ahead and attach the sleeves. This is the pin situation that I've been delicately sticking my arms through. It's not scary at all. We're just going to sew these sleeves on by going all the way around the armhole with a straight stitch. On the original, the sleeves are closed off with two cute little cuffs. So here are the rectangles that I cut, and I'm sewing them right sides together along the short edge to form a tube. The sleeves seem to also be elbow length, so I did shorten the ends, and then using the same 2 parallel stitches gathering technique on the ends of the sleeves, I gathered them all up and then pinned the cuffs so that the fabric is distributed evenly. Sew all of that right sides together with a straight stitch, and you've got yourself 2 cute little cuffs. Now that the shoulders and the sleeves are all locked into position, this is where I finally feel comfortable shortening the top. You just don't really know how the fabric's gonna hang on you until you get to this step. So I added these pins while wearing it and then folded it down the line of symmetry so that I could give it a crop. We're going for an unconventional scalloped waistline. So just cut and then repeat to yourself, I'm not scared, I'm not scared, I'm not scared. Okay, we did it. Measure those beautiful arches that you just created and make sure you multiply that by at least 4 to get the circumference of the skirt. I calculated that I wanted a 3-meter circumference skirt, and that left me with 1 extra meter, so I just said why not and went for a whole 4-meter skirt. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the volume. If you have any practice making snowflake chains or little children holding hands out of folding paper, this will be just like that, but with a way more legit pair of scissors and only 1 long arching cut. Mine started at about 60 centimeters tall and ended around 53 centimeters. I gathered every single arch and pinned it right sides together to the top. The goal is to match the top and the skirt at the little peaks and valleys of the arches. It might be easier if I put it on. Okay, see here, matching up the little peaks and the little valleys. If everything looks good, we're gonna sew the back of the skirt right sides together, which will cover your butt, and then we're gonna sew the skirt to the top all along the arches, right sides together. Here's how it looked after my first stab, and I really didn't feel like my arches committed enough. So I'm going to do another stitch that deepens the arches. This is where this current stitch is, and up here is where I'd like the next one, maybe like a centimeter in. You might have to give your skirt a trim to level out the bottom, but just be careful. You don't want some haircut situation where you keep trying to balance the left and the right and then you end up losing many key inches. After trimming, the bottom can be hemmed by just turning the edge in 2 times and sewing a straight stitch. We're gonna finish off with one more little pattern drafting technique, a good old slash and spread, or in this case, slash and shrink. This strip is the current circumference of the dress's neck hole, and I'm taping all of these little slits shut by about 86% so that it can form a slightly standing mock neck pattern. I needed 44 centimeters on the outside and 38 centimeters on the inside. Yep, looks close enough. This needs to be cut with seam allowance out of 2 layers of fabric and sewn right sides together, except, sorry, one last thing. I decided to cut these 2 little rectangles, fold them shut and sew into 2 tiny ribbons, and these need to be sandwiched between the collar layers so that they can become a cute little button closure. After flipping the collar right side out and sewing it to the neck hole, it is time to try on your picnic outfit. Here is the original inspo. I'm pretty sure this is the 3rd Cecilie Bahnsen item I've made. And here is how it looks after sewing it outside.
Wait.
Did you record or unrecord?
I don't know.
Ugh, what a weird dream. If you want to see more pictures of this dress, I'll put them all up on my Instagram @WITHWENDY. And if you got all the way here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!